Ladies and gentlemen, in studio we do have the National Chairman, Church and Clergy Association of Kenya. And I'd like to call him a prophet because he said something and it came to pass. I'm talking about none other than Bishop Hudson Ndeda. Bishop, welcome to Radio Generation. We are glad that you could join us a second time this particular year. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. Yeah. Last when you were here, you said that in the coming weeks, we will see the church coming out strongly to articulate some issues that have been affecting the country. Yeah. And indeed, Bishop, when you left this studio, a few days, we saw you come out. You did say something to that effect. And from then on, we have been seeing Catholic bishops doing something similar. Just last week, we saw NCCK do something similar. Is it something that the church agreed? Did you guys meet somewhere in a WhatsApp group and spoke? Did you go for a conference somewhere and decided that this is the direction the church is taking?
Not really. You know, the church is supposed to speak for the voiceless, is supposed to speak for the poor, is supposed to speak for the suffering. So when something that is happening that is affecting the voiceless and the poor, then the church must rise up and speak. And so when I was here and I said you will hear more from the church, it is because I could see so much that the church should speak about, even though we had not spoken. And you know, that time was a mourning period, so we were mourning Baba.
Yes.
But then I knew people are going to rise up and speak, and I made a pledge here when we were talking that as I go out, you will soon hear from me. And the Nation newspaper, I gave it a very big title that I said, keep up from church. Church tells the state. Yeah, so, yeah.
Is that what you said, though? Is that what you meant?
They interpreted what I said. Actually, it's almost that, because I was saying the state should not interfere with church matters. They should not interfere with pastors and church. They should concentrate on doing what people elected them to do.
Yeah.
And I also talked to parliamentarians. In fact, I said, we don't have to blame the president so much. We need to target the members of parliament because they're the ones coming up with bogus bills. These people, I don't know why they were elected. I'm yet to see why this parliament was elected, because since they came in, the kind of bills they come up with, you wonder whether they have suspended their thinking.
Yeah.
Or they live in this country, or they don't live in this country. I don't know. Unfortunately, Mbuvi.
Yes.
And City. In this country, let me talk of Africa, but Kenya is becoming worse. We are lacking leaders. We have a lot of politicians in Kenya, but we don't have leaders. You know, politicians, they get into office thinking of two things only. One, how they will make money, and two, they begin to think on how they will win the next election. Hata hawa mtu tulichaguliwa juzi. Right now they're thinking of how to win again in 2027.
Oh, you're talking about the by-election?
The by-elections.
Yes.
Don't think they have got there to serve. If you talk deep into their heart, they are now thinking on how to maintain that position in 2027. And that becomes their main agenda. So do you expect a service delivery from such a politician? You don't. Leaders think of the people who elected them, and how best to serve them, and how best to improve their lives. Unfortunately, we don't have such in Kenya.
Me, I have a question, and this question is in regards to civic education and political education. The church is in a position whereby every single Sunday, and perhaps even in subsequent services and mass, where the church can actually preach to the people and teach them on their rights, civically and politically. I don't know what you make of that. Where I go to church, I'm a Catholic, and it is once in a while it will be said in passing, tumekaribia uchaguzi sababu ya whatever, mujipange na mujue mnachagua nani. But I feel like it only happens during that period. I feel like it should happen as often as it can. Perhaps even the same way we have catechism, for example, we have some catechism, and I'm putting it in quotes, for political education. I don't know what you think about that. Does it happen in your church?
Yes, we do. Church leaders do speak, but this country is faced by numerous challenges. For example, elections in Kenya are determined by tribe, and that is what we really need to speak into. And that is what is bringing problems into this country. You see, we have like tribal leaders. If you tell them you are tribal, there are people say this is our hero. The hero in him is talking about his people and defending his people and all that. So there are other challenges. As much as we speak, tribalism is the cancer that is finishing this nation. So most people will think of their people more than thinking of leaders who will take the nation to the next level. But I want to urge the church, I want to urge the leaders and the pastors, the bishop, the apostles, reverends, let us keep on talking. Let us keep on educating the members of the church. We might not tell them exactly vote for so and so, but we should give them the qualities of a leader who is fit to be a leader. How do you identify a leader? But I will repeat, the current crop of leaders we have in parliament, they better find something else to do. They're not leaders. They're not.
But is the electorate ready to make this discernment that you've just made? Are they willing to even... Because let's look at what happened even in the by-elections now that you've brought them up.
Yes.
We had wakati wa maandamano, there was this huge chant of one term and Ruto must go, and whatever it is, and you could feel from where I was seated. For me, I was like, if elections were to be held on that day, first of all, no parliamentarian would come back to parliament. The president would go home. The governors as well are wangenda. But it looks like in the last 1 year things have really changed. What we witnessed at the by-election was nowhere close to what we saw in the Mandamano. Actually, even a few months ago when we had the Sabasaba ones, or when we were remembering the folks like Rex Masai, I thought that time the country had now decided that this is the direction, but I feel like the country hasn't made it.
But Paul, where's the connection between a Mandamano and the process of electing a politician into office?
This is where the connection is. Number one, they had said, now this is the protesters, the protesters had said that they want nothing to do with this particular government. Yet in the by-election, we saw a couple of people allied to the government winning positions of parliament and MCAs. So it makes me wonder whether that was just all talk.
And we also saw a distinct absence of this particular group of individuals who are referred to as Gen Z participating in this process.
Right.
That was visible in the electoral processes.
Very much visible.
Again, my question, the reason I asked the question is simply this. When you talk about the elections in this country, a by-election does not represent what a real election will be. Well, a by-election is a microcosm, a small one. If there's a government in place, the government has all the opportunities to focus its attention on these 2 or 3 areas. A national election is a completely different kettle of fish.
However, CT, from past by-elections, they are more or less, do I call it a mirror of what will happen in the subsequent
there's a narrative
general election?
There's a narrative that people forward, and that is what they say. I have not seen the evidence to support that.
Okay. But what I will say is, what you've said actually, even in terms of the Gen Z participation in the by-election, was missing. Was it because they hadn't registered as voters? I don't know. But perhaps, Bishop, if you could chime in.
Yeah, I will come in. You asked me about the protests we had, was it in last year?
Yeah,
and
this year as well.
Yeah, and this year. And people were saying, they will not elect this government, they are against this and that. Mbubi.
Yeah.
Never take Mandamano serious in this country. Never. Those are sycophants of politicians. Those are people paid up to come on the streets. You know, I pay people to come and speak at Garissa City. So if you take those people serious, you're wasting your time.
Okay.
So if you peg election results on the kind of protest you see in this country, Kenya is a very exciting country.
Yeah.
Very exciting, with very exciting people, with very funny people. And because of poverty, we have enough sycophants. Just for a few shillings, 500 shillings, somebody will make a noise on the street from morning to evening. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is not a person you take serious. After he has made the protest and he has gotten the 500, the 1,000, the voting day he will be sleeping. He will be too tired to go and vote because he was busy protesting yesterday. He has no energy left in him to go and line up to vote. And most of them have no votes. They have no votes. They are not voters. And so we just need to pray. Kenyans of reason should just come up and say it is enough. We want to change our country. We want to move our country to the next level. You know, I keep on asking myself, with the kind of constitution we have and the devolution, you know, this country is supposed to move very fast in terms of development.
Yeah.
Because now we have semi-governments all over with money and things. Many things have been brought closer to people. But the problem is that my own observation, and I've done my research, I will never treat serious protesters. Yeah, and I will not tell you because of these masses protesting.
Yes,
the election will be different. The election results will be different. In fact, serious people, they just sit doing the work as you're doing and wait for the day of voting. Those are the people who make a difference.
Yeah.
Stop pegging election results on those funny people.
Yeah.
Paul, do you understand that for some people, their contribution, this I'm going by my observation.
Right.
The participation in governance and in changing whatever it is that ails a country from the perspective of the demonstrators on the 25th.
25th of last year, right?
Last year and
25th of this year.
I think for many of them it appears like the demonstration was it. Once they are demonstrated, they are done their bit. And if when they advance to parliament, they're done. The thought process of what it takes to govern a country, they want to change. Did they understand what it means to change a government? Did they understand what it means for a president to vacate his office and for someone else to come in? Because there are all these things. If the president vacates, our laws are straightforward. The deputy becomes president. In that case, Rigiji would have become the president if the president had vacated his office. Okay? The alternative is the military may have said, guys, you guys don't seem to be behaving well. Until you stabilize, we are going to sit here. It was a possibility. It didn't happen, but it was a possibility. I'm simply saying the consequences of these wonderful demonstrations that they had against something specific that was bothering the entire nation, called the finance bill, it opened the eyes of Kenyans to things that I personally had not even understood about the finance bill. Okay? And I claim to read. But the perspective they brought to life real issues. But that thereafter clearly was not thought out clearly.
But in my opinion, and you're very right, is because of the whole leaderless aspect of that protest. Because perhaps if there was leadership, perhaps that leadership would coalesce an ideology that went beyond just the protests on 25th, beyond just the protest that was against the finance bill of 2024.
Yeah, you're speaking. Anything that doesn't have a leader, it has no life. Because at the end of the day, then there will be no one to put the people together so that they continue fighting for the cause. And as City put it, after Mandamano, what next? What did he want to achieve? You know, if you go out and you are protesting for a cause, you should be in it until you achieve. The budget was dropped, but some of them were brought back. were brought back through parliament.
I think all of them were
Yes,
brought
they were brought back. Some of the things they wanted to achieve, the government still achieved them through parliament. They threw in one by one. That is why I'm very much against this parliament. This parliament is the weak link in this country, and I want to urge Kenyans, every Kenyan, from where you are, can you begin to put a check on your member of parliament? See what is their contribution in parliament. What do they speak to that speaks to your life and the improvement of the country? Once we get the right parliament, remember the days of Martin Shikuku. That is when we had parliament. People could speak from their heart. They could speak from their mind. They could speak what is right, even if it is endangering their lives. But this kind of parliament where a whole parliamentarian, we hear they are bribed even 20,000 or 10,000 to pass a bill. A person we took to parliament is earning over $1 million. He's salvating on 10K. What kind of a leader is that? So those are the people I'm telling you, the politicians. They are not leaders.
Right.
They are in to make money, and they think on how to retain their position in the next election. And don't be surprised. I told you something from the beginning when we began. These people who were elected 1 week ago, right now what is on their mind is thinking on how they will retain those positions in 2027. And when 2027 comes, they will come and say, you know, I only had 1 year. I did have time to do anything. But when you look at them, you'll find 5 cars parked at their compound. You'll find them in designer suits that they never used to wear.
A new wife.
A new wife that they didn't have. You'll find them in Karen. Somebody was staying in Huruma. That is what took them to parliament, nothing else.
Now that we're talking about 2027,
yes,
in terms of our preparedness as a country, and I'll go back to the Gen Z vote, we didn't see them being active in the by-election. Can we attribute that to the fact that perhaps they haven't registered, or they're in the process of registration and the IEBC hadn't really renewed the register? Or can we just say that let's forget about Gen Zs and their participation in elections? Let's wacha tuwategemee wakati wa kelele na maandamano.
Gen Zs, some of them are registered voters and some are not. I think what is lacking, as you said, is the civic education on teaching Kenyans on the importance of an election. You know, if we treat an election serious, then we will have nothing or maybe very little to complain for of the people we elected, because we participated and we took part in electing those leaders. So Gen Zs are missing that. Some of them have registered voters. They're registered voters, I know. But the importance, we need now to move to the level of teaching people the importance of an election and the importance of him or her getting into the polling station and make a decision. Because we will not make a difference on the street only. Yes, we can make our voice heard. We can say what we feel is not right. But if we want to make change, why were we demonstrating? Then we need to go and vote. And when we vote, then we will have a shared responsibility. If we vote leaders who will fail, we will also blame ourselves and say, anyway, we are the ones who voted them in. So Gen Zs who are protesting, because most of them don't vote, and probably they didn't vote for these leaders and all that, so they don't have the ownership of feeling that this is the person I voted for. That is where we have a problem in this country, and we need to improve on so many things. We need to improve on IEBC. I looked at IEBC in these by-elections, and I was asking myself, suppose it was a general election, how would they behave? Did you think of that? Because these small units, it was too difficult for them to handle. So how prepared are we for the elections? I'm also even thinking of police. they were not able to handle these small units. How about the entire country voting now in the general election? Those are the conversation we need to begin to have as a country and think about 27. Otherwise, we will mess up this country. We'll mess up this country because politicians are ready to defend their seats by all means, whether it is by bribery, whether it is by rigging or doing whatever they do. We need to make Kenyans alert, and we do a lot of civic education on the importance of voting and guarding the votes and voting for the right leaders.
No, I remember being told that the Bible is an answer to every question that I have and every problem that I have. I will always find the solution somewhere in the Bible. Hata kwa harusi yangu nakumbuka nikiambiwa na father akaniambia shida yote mko nayo na bibi, angalia hapo kwa Biblia utapata hapo solution. What does the Bible say about I don't know, does it say anything about elections, number one? And then number two, what does it say about just how in the modern times we need to live in regards to our politics?
In the Bible, the first church, when they wanted to elect the church, they said, let us pray.
Elect the church?
Elect leaders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went to pray, to prayers. And the Holy Spirit spoke that these are the guys. So, elections in Kenya are led by emotions. And even when we advise, does Kenyans even listen? When we advise, you are doing a lot of civic education here by bringing people here who speak into their hearts, into their lives. Does Kenyans really listen? They can enjoy a program like this, and at the end of it, if you ask him tomorrow, what did you get from the program you had at RG? They have no idea. So the first church, how did they get their leaders? The leaders through prayer. But unfortunately, again, the Bible says all leaders in position they're put there by God. And we have a civic duty to pray for them. If you go to the Bible, all manner of leaders God allowed. It is God who allowed Saul.
And he's the one who put them there.
Yes. But sometimes for a reason, God can allow us to have leaders who will take us a very rough way for us to learn something. Like in the case of Saul. The Israelites cried for a king. We also want to have a king like others and all that. And God allowed them, and they had Saul. And things did not work well for them. And they raised their hands and told God, now we know the importance of your involvement in our life.
Sorry, I'm cutting you. But what did Saul do for these people to go back to their knees and say,
he was a rough leader. He deviated from the principles of God and all that, and people were suffering. He subjected people to sufferings and all that. So it pushed them to cry and tell God, now we know we were safe in your hands than doing it our way. And that is the time God gave them David. So maybe we need to go back on our knees and pray to God and tell him, God, don't take us the same route we took in the last election. In 2027, we want you to be involved and help us.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, Bishop, but I remember the church really endorsed President Ruto.
Yes.
And you know, he had prayer sessions almost on a daily. And everywhere he went, he found a church. Even amidst the campaign and the political shenanigans, he still found time to go and worship. And the church really overwhelmingly, endorsed him. But now, again, the same institution that said, Huyu Jamaa Tosha, is the same institution saying that perhaps there was a misunderstanding somewhere.
Remember, I told you all leaders come from God.
Yes.
Either for a lesson or to lead his people. So in there, we have the leaders we have from the president coming down to the MCS. Whether it was by divine choice from God or it was the will of man that God allowed, a submissive will, it is about God. So all leaders, whether they are good or bad, God allows for a reason. I will keep on telling you for a reason. And we need to learn to take the lessons from the kind of leaders we have so that we know how to speak to God in 2027.
There's something else going by what you mentioned.
Yeah.
This same Bible says that God will not be mocked. I have never understood this. How do people who claim to be Christians watch an electoral process with all the things that go wrong in that process, and they still say God has spoken as though God condoned all the wrong that was happening? It's something that I am yet to come to terms with. You talked about Saul. There was a prophet called Samuel.
Yes.
Okay? Before Samuel became a prophet, he was a judge. Israel had judges who actually were the people who you went to when there were issues. There were no kings. The people said they wanted a king. Okay? Now, Saul went and talked to God. In those days, they didn't need a telephone. They had a one-on-one. They knew how they communicated.
It was a direct line.
Saul went and told guys, you know what a king is going to do. A king will do this. A king will do this. Imprison you. Take your daughters. Do this. They told him, Saul, us, we want a what? And Saul had to go back to God and say, look at this. And God told Saul, it's not you they're rejecting, it is me. Okay?
Yeah.
So don't get too hot under the collar. Okay? Shida si wewe. Ni mimi. Wanacheza na mimi. Kwa hivyo, wapatie what they want. Why am I saying this?
Yeah.
We call ourselves a Christian nation, and yet we condone things which are wrong. We allow it. You know, the proceeds that are ill-gotten, like this money politicians like giving people. Why do you think you hear me saying every day, forget this nonsense, people tell you take it. Don't take it. Oh, but we are poor. There is no money you'll be given which will last beyond a day. And the other day is that politician is not there. How do you survive? Because that's one day in your lifetime. One.
Yeah.
The other days you've been living and you've been alive. How do you survive? So the argument of you are poor cannot hold water. That poverty you have, was it not the reason why you elected this person to remove you from that poverty? And what is it that they have done to actually get you away from this poverty that you say you have? How do I support a leadership that constantly, and I'm talking about the leaders whom we elect at the local level, who have the money and the funds to actually make lives of people better, and I know they don't. The people also know they don't. At some level, you're forced to say, we get the leaders we deserve. And even the suffering that comes upon us, we deserve it. You know why? We actually are in a position to do something about it. But we don't.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking you to go to the MP's house to talk to him. Just refuse to take the money. That fellow will have to change the way they think.
CT is talking about judges and prophets. And when you go to the book of Judges chapter 6, and I think we have a problem there.
Okay.
There was a generation that did not see how God delivered the children of Israel from Egypt and from bondage and what they went through and what made God to come in for them. So when they got to the promised land, those things that God told them not to do, that is what they did.
Hence why.
God took them to houses they never built, land they never bought, food they never planted. But they reached there and they forgot God. And they began to worship pagan gods. What happened? God subjected them to serious trouble for 7 years until they raised up their hands and they said, God, it is enough. And then God sent a prophet to raise Gideon to deliver them again for the second time. And the problem, CT, was that this generation was not there to see the suffering that the ancestors went through.
Yes, they think they're the first people to actually have these problems, and yet other people preceded them in doing exactly what they're doing.
And
Exactly.
You know what Bishop is saying has made me realize that perhaps Israel has been delivered more times than we can count.
Yes.
They have.
But continue.
This is another deliverance.
Yeah.
But this one lasted for 7 years. The other one, they were in bondage for 430 years. And the 40 years. So I doubt if these people suffered for 7 years and raised up their hand would have survived the 400 years. So we have a generation who doesn't understand where this country is coming from and where it's supposed to be. That is why your conversation and the conversation of City are two different conversations. He will see things differently. You see things differently because he has been there.
Yeah.
And he knows where the country is coming from. And he has on his mind, he feels that this country should be somewhere.
Yeah.
He feels that we are stagnating, we're not moving, we are not growing. What they fought for, the fathers fought for, what they saw, we are not seeing it because this is a blue band generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're living in a blue band generation. We're living in a generation that has never walked barefooted. We're living in a generation that has never walked around with torn clothes. But if you ask City, he has seen all that.
I have gone to school barefooted, yes.
He has slept hungry enough times. They didn't have a good shelter above them to come. So his children might not understand what he went through to give them that good shelter they are in right now. His children might not understand life when they wake up and find breakfast there every day. They find lunch and find supper. Maybe we need to go back into a wilderness so that we get
remember God.
Yeah, we get some experience of what life is. And then we will refocus and begin to see things differently. So that is the time God raised Gideon to come and deliver them again. And God went silent for 7 years as if he's not seeing until they got the lesson. When they got the lesson, they come out and said, God, it is enough. We've seen our mistakes.
Yeah.
We are missing to see the miracles that our forefathers told us about. We are missing to see the miraculous saving that our forefathers, they were only told about. They never saw it. So maybe we need a small wilderness.
Yeah.
We see some things and maybe we refocus again.
But would you say that Kenyans are going back now to God in a way? Because the kind of problems that they have faced, or rather we are now currently facing, are making us perhaps to realize that hapa hata hii maandamano haisaidii, kuna tu kitu moja ama mtu mmoja mwenye anaweza akatusaidia. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, if you look at what is happening in the nation, you saw the other day the meeting that was at Uhuru Park, and you saw how people flocked into that meeting. Uhuru Park was packed to the roads and all that. People are now turning to God. They're seriously turning to God. But the problem is, are they turning to God? Are they getting born again, or they're just running to God for safety and all that? But if we truly get born again and we give our lives to God, we will make a serious prayer in this nation, and God will hear. Because when we make a prayer, we will also follow it with our actions and do what is right. Yeah, so I have a problem with this nation because maybe we don't understand exactly even why our fathers fought for independence. They were going through a similar thing that the Israelites were going through, and they needed a better Kenya. So are we in a better Kenya? Are we moving? It might be a different Kenya from then, but is it moving at the required speed? Another thing that is killing this nation, for me, it is corruption. We have enough money in this nation. Enough money. We have enough money in this nation.
Now it is said that we are losing. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Star, but they're saying Kenya is losing 3 billion daily to corruption in state tenders, according to a new report.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you look at the roads right now. My car is the oldest. You see new cars all over. And some of these people, you don't even know where they're working. They're just there. But they are making money outside here. They just walk around, go and do a shoe shine. They go and take coffee there and all that.
Read a newspaper.
Yeah, read a newspaper. Just get a nice shirt on them and all that. Because all this money is found easily. Corruption is finishing this country. Politicians, I told you from the word go.
Yes.
The work is to make money for themselves and their families. So when you see them with a project, it is not about the project. It is about what they will make from that project. It might look very good when they say we will do roads, when they say we want to improve infrastructure in school. It is like, unfortunately, let me tell you this. It is about, you remember the Michuki rules?
Yes, I remember them.
And when we had the speed governors, the seat belts and all that, it is only that it worked, Maggie.
The uniform for the makangas.
Yes.
He also said matatu zikuwe rangi moja, which has never happened.
It is only that it worked, Maggie.
Yeah.
The safety belts and saved people on the roads and all that. But behind the project, it is how somebody will make money. You remember a seat belt was 3,000 shillings.
Yes.
How much is it today?
I have absolutely no idea.
And the source was what? You have to buy it from this source.
Speed governor.
The speed governors, you have to buy it from this source. I expect the safety belts to be 10,000 now. If it was 3,000 then I expect them to be 10,000 now. But today, you can almost get them for free.
And not
almost, because 300 shillings, 500 shillings. But then the source was one. You must get it from that source because it is the certified. It's the one that has the real one. It's not about real. And once the business is done, people are thinking about something else.
Nowadays, matatus don't even have those seat belts. I can't remember the last time I saw.
No, they do have them. It's just that they don't work. But they're there.
Nobody enforces that law because they were serious. They were not serious anyway. It was about business.
Yeah. and you know, and again we go back to this whole issue of corruption, whereby now we are being told that through tenders we are losing 3 billion. You would expect that ever since President Uhuru made that declaration of the loss of 2 billion a day, someone would decide to tighten those loopholes so that we can, at the very least, probably lose a few hundred millions. But that number has multiplied by literally 50%. So 50% from 200 to, from 2 billion to 3 billion. That's an increase of 50%.
President Moi said something when he was leaving government. And he said, I'm a driver and I'm driving a very big bus. And behind here I have some passengers that I'm carrying. If I don't focus on where I'm taking these people, they might not arrive. But then in this big bus, there are pickpockets there, there are thieves there. So how I leave the steering and get back to check on these people?
The bus will crash.
The bus will crash. I'm telling you, sometimes we see these politicians to be corrupt, but the technocrats, the people working in government inside there, they are the real thieves. They are the real thieves. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
There is need for a change of heart in Kenya. Because we'll keep on looking at the politicians and these people are smiling in offices there because they're the real guys, they're the ones stealing, they're the ones who knows the numbers, they're the ones who works on the tenders and all that. We need people to change their minds. If Kenyans will stop stealing from this country just for 5 years, 5 years only, we say nobody's stealing for 5 years, we can take this country to the next level where people have always been talking about Singapore and all that. We can change this nation. But the problem is, what is it in for me? Even the, sorry to say, I'm a truthful man. I do just speak.
Yeah.
We lost Baba.
Yes.
And Baba served in the government of Kibaki. He served in the government of Uhuru. Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and the current government.
Yes.
And that was always coming through protests. We have lost life and all that. So you wonder, were they fighting for a better Kenya? Or they are fighting for a space and a piece of bread in that government. Because once they got in government, that is it. See, now we have no opposition. ODM is saying Baba left us in government. That is where we want to stay and all that. So they will see no evil. They will see no bad. Everything is okay. And that is the crop of leaders we have. We elect in this country. And you expect development from these people. You expect these people not to steal our money. They will steal our money because they have no agenda for this country. They don't think about this country. Hata kidogo. See, politicians, if a politician get into office, even an MCA, give him 5 years, he's filthy rich. 5 years, an MCA.
Yeah.
Becomes filthy rich.
If we go with your analogy for the bus,
yes,
that has got this driver who cannot, take a minute to just go back and organize the issue, is it possible to just park the bus? Park it completely, stop the vehicle, zima engine kabisa. Then now go back and deal with the pickpockets, the rogue conductor, and passengers who are rowdy and so on and so forth. And in that case, what I'm trying to say is it possible for the president, our current president, Dr. William Ruto, to stop and, stop everything that he's doing and just say, I want to deal with Bishop Ndeda. He is the corrupt person. I want to deal with CT. He's a corrupt politician. Dani. I want to deal with movie. He's doing this and this and this and this. Then once he has dealt with all the rogue elements, get back to the driver's seat, restart the engine, and the country moves forward with a quiet bus, orderly bus, where the conductors are collecting pesa vizuri, passengers are alighting at where they're supposed to alight.
Well, let me ask the question.
Yes, please.
What you say is the possibility we'd like to see. Why haven't we seen it?
I want to urge the president, you have a golden opportunity for this country. He has a golden opportunity.
Actually, he has.
He should not even be thinking of getting re-elected in 2027. He should just read the mood of Kenyans and understand what they want. And one of the things is what you're saying. Let him now begin to act. Let Kenyans see people go in for corruption. Let Kenyans see people's property being auctioned.
Heads rolling.
Heads rolling because of corruption. And people will just elect him. Let him do the work. And let this money be put into development. Let this money be put into SHA that is struggling to work. Let this money be put into CBC. Let this money be put into roads and all that. You will not have to ask for votes from Kenya. But if we continue with the tough talks, what we have in Kenya is tough talk. Tough talk. Every president has been talking tough. It is even a shame for a president to come and say we are losing 2 billion every month or every day?
Every day.
Every day.
Now it's 3 billion daily.
And you are a president. What are you doing about it? And Kenyans elected you to serve them. Kenyans elected you to protect their gains and all that. So the president, if he wants the goodwill of Kenyans, he must begin to act. As you say, let him park the bus and begin to look around and say, what is ailing us? What is finishing us?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even the days of former President Moi, the late, people used to say we had people being killed around and all that, and you realize it is not the president who was doing that. It is his lieutenants, the people down here who are doing that. So you must reach a point where you look back and say, what is ailing the country? There are enough thieves in the country. And for you to hear people say that we are losing 3 billion, it is not a joke. It is not a joke. It is true. It is a real thing. This country is collecting a lot of tax. A lot of tax in this country.
Yeah.
A lot of money is being collected in this country, but it is all going into either wastage or corruption. You see a minister running around with 5 cars, big cars. We are not talking about 2,000cc cars, big cars. One person. One person is running around with the 5-6 security men around him. Ni nini ameiba, anaogopa mtu atapiga ni nini amefanya, because if you're doing what is right, you have nothing to worry for.
Fear, yeah.
Yes, so you see the people serving one person at the end of the day, at the end of the money, there's a lot of money. We had President Uhuru in this country and he came up with the Passats, but it looks like it was just a PR. They disappeared. You can't see any on the road now.
Nowadays, they are actually just being used by state corporations.
Yes, you see, those that survived, most of them died. Nobody they had to kill them,
yes,
so that they get back to big cars. They had to kill them.
You know, Bishop, there's this president from El Salvador. He's called Bukele. Bukele, when he was elected as president, he literally suspended the constitution the next day, and he had a huge crackdown on the gangs that were controlling El Salvador, because it had become such a big menace. They were controlling everything from the roads to it was a Mungiki style kind of leadership that had taken over because of these particular gangs, and some of them were actually even being controlled from as far off as other countries, Venezuela and America, because the gangs had literally they had veins into these particular places. But when President Bukele took over, suspended the constitution and said, I am going to deal with these particular gangs. And today El Salvador it was literally the murder capital of the world, and right now it is one of the safest places to live in this particular world. The tourism has gone back to that particular country, and it is now flourishing because of the particular steps that he decided, hate me or love me, but this one inanta deal now. I don't know what it will take to have that kind of commitment in Africa, because we are seeing probably one or few presidents here and there trying to do that particular style of leadership. I don't know, but in my opinion and where I see it, I feel like perhaps Kenya needs that kind of thing, whereby the president just wakes up one day and we see 20 ministers in prison, PSs follow in, and several other directors, and I think people will toe the line. I don't know, maybe that's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, in Kenya it will be a wishful thinking, as you put it, because in Kenya we are too careful that if I shoot movie, I shoot CT, I'm depending on this person for the next election and all that, and those are the calculations that goes around in politics and all that, and that is why it is very hard to serve. It is very hard to serve, but we need this country needs a very radical leader. Radical and very serious.
Yes.
Somebody who will say, I'm not looking beyond these 5 years. I was elected to serve. The president has said that, but we still need to see some action. He has said he was not elected to be re-elected in 2027. That is a good statement. But then use these 5 years. Come up with serious and radical changes. Eliminate this corruption thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe that is what is ailing this country. Minus corruption, we will have meaningful development in this country and all that. We will not be looking for selling the corporates we have to get money, because we're selling our corporates to put money in individuals' pockets, yet there is enough money. Why can't we go for this money that is being wasted in corruption than dealing with corruption?
The Kenya Pipeline Corporation?
Kenya Pipeline Corporation. We're thinking of selling even the airport and everything. When we have sold every chicken and every cow at home, what will we sell next?
Human beings. We shall become the commodity.
What will we sell next? We have nothing, because you might sell all these things and still nothing is working.
You will have to sell slaves.
So you'll become bankrupt. You will become a bankrupt country.
But Paul, consider.
Yeah.
When people talk of Singapore, I start there. They say that Lee was dictatorial. He did not suspend the constitution, but being in the opposition was difficult in that country. We look at Singapore, we admire it. Next door here, the guy called Kagame.
Yes.
Kagame is called by very many people a dictator, but look at what he has done for his country. Look at where the country was and look at where he has taken it. There was a Filipino president called Duterte. He also sought to follow that same path of dealing with the drug dealers. Right now, he's wanted by the ICC on charges of murder or mass killing. That is a difficult path. It is a good path, but it is a difficult path. The thing is this: good things are never easy. That's the whole point, because it goes the grain of what people would ordinarily want to do. Because the yardstick, unfortunately, is strict. So even as we speak, and the bishop was quite right, the president doesn't know everything that happens. There are things he knows when you know. He's as surprised as you are. I've asked here on many occasions, how does the president benefit when a young person is shot? How? You think he doesn't know it will work against him?
He knows.
He knows. So why would he do something that would work against him? And what was that person going to do that was going to cause him a problem? One person. What is it? The thing about people who we refer to as presidential handlers, they are handlers because many of them want to take control of that particular president and shield everybody away from it. So that what they say is what the president hears. 2025 last year was a good year for the president. It was a very good year, because that gave him an opportunity to actually look at his handlers and the people who had been advising him. Because I am certain that briefing that NIS gave, he got it. But I am also certain that there were people who told him, ini porojo, there's nothing. Until we all saw what happened.
The consequence.
Then he realized, wait a moment, you mean to tell me what these fellows have been telling me all along is actually true? See? That there had to be overwhelming evidence for him to understand that perhaps the people who are around him were not necessarily the ones who are always telling him the truth. The people around any leadership are not there because they love you. They are there because they stand to benefit from you.
Sure.
And the focus is that you should continuously be there so that they can continue benefiting. How do you think it is you hear of somebody who is a broker? Broker in the sense that you need to go through him.
Siti, you're making a very powerful point. When we talk of the presidency, the president is not himself. And I will take you back to the second time Kibaki was elected back to office.
Yes.
And you saw what was happening around. And you could not see Kibaki anywhere. But you could see the Karuas, you could see the Murungarus, you could see... Those are the people who benefit from the presidency. And those are the people who will do the things that Siri is talking about, like right now. For example, how do you blame the president on what happened in Malava? The president was not there. But the people who benefits from the presidency, they were at work there. That the very people who were in Mbere and all over and all that.
Yes.
So the kind of system we have in this country, I'm beginning to think we need to have a conversation in this country upon changing the constitution. Maybe that will save us a bit, so that we can have our president serve one term, so that he has nothing to lose in the next election. He'll be able to serve the people of Kenya. But when you have a president who is in office and is thinking about the next election, and he has people who are saying we must eat and we must make money because we supported you, we help you come in this position, it becomes almost impossible for one to serve.
One time, would that make him or her try and steal as much as he or she can within that 5-year term?
Where there is one term, there are a lot of checks and balances also on how to remove that leader. Okay. It's not left so loose that he can become almost like a king. So these checks and balances will push him to serve. Yeah. But he will not, the people who threaten the leaders so much are politicians, are not ordinary people. Okay. There are people who can talk to presidents, and the president must listen, because one, he put in some money in the campaign kit. He is so important in that region for his re-election and all that. So maybe if we think of having one term, maybe increased from 5 years to 6 or 7, and it be one, it is one term and one retires.
Okay.
Maybe it can help this country.
Bishop Hudson, thank you so much for gracing us. As always, we are glad whenever we have this conversation, and we invite you again to help us continue having these kinds of talks. So asante tena sana.
Karibu.
And to the listener, the viewer, thank you so much for your contribution as well on our social media pages where you have commented. We appreciate that. We don't take it for granted. But this is where we come to an end as far as the conversation is concerned.